What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today is Wednesday's weekly report, and today we're going to talk about the standings from the last weekends of regionals, what won and what got top 8 and even top 16. Big shout out to Kyle Thieker, I'm pretty sure that's his name, who actually who got all the information needed for top 16, so big shout out to him. And as you see, in Arizona, first place was Israel Sosa with Evital Archeops Getsis. The funny thing is, this is Israel's fourth regionals win with Darkrai. Now, Getsis was pretty much MVP in a lot of the decks here. As you see, second place was Blastoise. And what Sosa would do is turn one, he would Getsis his opponent and get rid of like the majority of cards in his hand. With Blastoise, or even like most decks nowadays play a lot of item cards do get like the turn one, like Shaman, you have the Trainer's Mail, you got Acrobike, you got not so much Bike anymore, Verse Seeker, Battle Compressor, and if your opponent has a Battle Compressor Verse Seeker in their hand with no supporter, obviously the combo is a Battle Compressor, then use the Verse Seeker to use the supporter. But if you guesses all that away, your opponent's kind of stuck with getting that in. Now, if your opponent still has like a Shaman in hand, you're still kind of in the winning spot, because what they could do is play their item cards, then Shaman, and then play more item cards. But since you shuffled all their item cards away, you made it where he gets his prove to point, I guess, if that makes sense at all, because they're not able to use their item cards because you already gets them away, and now they're using Shaman to draw into those item cards that they already had, which they already would have had if you didn't get them. Next up is Blastoise. This is no surprise. It's actually kind of surprised me a little bit more that Blastoise is so big, because I expected a bunch of Vespiquen, but it turned out that Vespiquen wasn't really anywhere for some odd reason. It seems like Vespiquen would have a good matchup against Blastoise, but these Blastoise players nowadays are playing like two Articunos and like Regice and even Kyogre EX. Not the Kyogre EX that we saw from Primal Clash, the Kyogre EX from Dark Explorers. It does 50 damage to two of your opponent's Pokemon. So if you're able to snipe the Combees down first, or maybe even Eevees if they play the 50 HP Eevee, you kind of make it where Vespiquen is not a good deck at all. Next up is Evital Sableye. I'm not really sure about this. I mean, I imagine it's just in the Evital deck. The next kind of like curious deck is this Turbo Rayquaza. Now, a lot of people thought that Turbo Rayquaza was kind of dead because of Toad, Giratina being everywhere. Just energy disruption kind of just like shuts the deck down. But we see that Xander actually got top 4 with it, and I actually did an interview with Xander, so make sure you look out for that. I think I have it uploaded today with all this stuff. And Turbo Rayquaza, it was just a fast deck. You play like multiple Hoopas, multiple Shamans, Super Rod, and all that stuff just to run through his deck so quickly. And the same thing, the reason why he lost is because he played against Sosa, and Sosa did like a Turbo Getsus, getting rid of everything, which is kind of shut down the Turbo Rayquaza deck, which is obviously devastating. Next up, Blastoise, Evital Sableye, Evital Getsus. Sammy Sosa and Ezra Sosa played a 59 card deck. The only difference is Sosa played a DOS machine and Sammy played a computer search. And then next up, the interesting thing here is Smiley with his Vileplume, Miltank, Aegislash, Slurpuff deck. Now, Xander Bennett, if I recall, actually did beat Smiley, or maybe it was somebody else. I can't really. I know Xander beat who was it? Sean Hip, which is the same exact deck as Smiley. And the cool thing here is, your opponent does play like Aegislash and Vileplume and stuff like that, which does like slow you down a lot. But Xander played a Hex Maniac, which shut down a lot of the stuff in the deck. You shut down the Vileplume, you shut down the Aegislash, just kind of make it useless. And that's what the cool thing about Xander's deck. I'm pretty sure he played 2 Hex Maniacs, if I remember correctly. And the thing with Aegislash as well is you can also beat Blastoise if you play the Hex Maniac. You can kind of like knock out a Keldeo with a bunch of energies, Hex Maniac them, and make it where they can't attach energies at all to their Keldeo next turn, which is great for you. Next up is Toad Giratina. I thought this was going to be played a lot more, but Blastoise kind of like just overran the Toad Giratina, and so did Evital. Both those decks have great matchups against Toad. I didn't think it did, but obviously it did. Next up is Blastoise, and the next up right here is this crazy Virizion, Giratina, Lugia, Leafeon deck. I am not sure about this deck at all. It is definitely really weird. The Virizion is kind of cool because it makes it where like Giratina can't be affected by special conditions because of the double dragon energy. Lugia is obviously really good. Just you load a bunch of energies on it. It's kind of like the Virizion Mewtwo deck we saw 2 years ago at regionals. So this is probably the most interesting deck right here. Is this Virizion Giratina Lugia Leafeon deck? Next is Blastoise, Sizes to a Genesect. It's kind of like Yamato's deck that we saw back at the 60 cards Invitational. You know, you're quick and punching them, and while you're quick and punching them, you can like use Genesect to bring up somebody. You can load up one eventually and use G Booster to 200 damage to anybody, which is great. Next up is Tool Drop. Now I don't know a lot about Drew's list at all. I'll also play Tool Drop at regionals, and it's a really good deck. Watch out for the video for it. I'll be making it probably Thursday or Friday. I give a lot of information about Tool Drop, and I think it's a really good deck, and people aren't considering it right now. It didn't top 8 anywhere, but it did have great performances overall. Next up is Jacob Van Wagner with Blastoise. No surprise there. He won Worlds with it. Sad that he did make top 16, but not top 8. And then once again, Sean Hippo, Vileplume, Miltank, Aegislash, Slurpuff. I don't think we talked about really, but Vileplume, you know, just shutting down all your item cards. I just made a video about this. The only difference is the deck played Regice instead of Aegislash. Now, Aegislash is cool because it makes a Pokemon with the special energies can't hurt you, but Regice makes it where when you start attacking, EX Pokemon can't hurt you. And with Aegislash, you can actually Hex Maniac the Aegislash away, while you can't Hex Maniac a Regice, which is why I think it's better to play Regice than the Aegislash. And that was Arizona, so Sosa won with Eotol. Like I said, this is his fourth win with Darkrai deck, a dark deck basically. You know, when he did win like 2 years ago, Eotol wasn't around, neither was Archeops. I think Ghetsis was, but not Eotol or Archeops. So, you know, congratulations to Izero for winning his fourth regionals in like 3 years, if I remember correctly. Now, next up is Michael Pramawat. And this actually matchup kind of surprised me. I wish there was a stream so we could see what actually happened here. You see there's a Seismic Crobat and a Blastoise deck in first and second. And Michael Pramawat did end up beating the Blastoise player, so I'm not really sure how this happened. Maybe Klazinski missed the turn 1 Archies both games, and you know, if you do that and you start Quake punching them, you kind of ruin them. And I heard rumors that Pramawat also played a Silent Lab. In this case, that's really good there. You can like license up a Blastoise, Silent Lab, making it where they can't rush in retreat, or basically bring up whoever they want to. And if you start Quake Punch them when they don't hit the Archies, there's no way they're getting Archies out the game at all. Like, there's no way they can like manually put down their hand down to like 1 or 2 cards, or 1 card, and then use Archies. Like, it's almost impossible. And that's the great thing here with Seismitoad. And Crobat's obviously where they boost the damage of doing like this plus 20, plus 30 with the Golbats and Crobats. And I mean, this is probably the most surprising deck right here that won. I didn't think Seismic Crobat was going to win, but we see it did win, and it won against Blastoise. It was basically the Worlds, but this time around, Seismic Crobat won. And as you see, there's 2 Blastoise. So Pramawat actually beat a Blastoise in the finals, and Blastoise in top 4. So I imagine him going to the finals, he was really happy. I felt really confident about the Blastoise matchup. And it's funny because 2nd, 3rd, 4th were all Blastoise deck. So, you know, Blastoise was obviously a great call this weekend. 5th place was Brad Kershaw with Evatol. I did an interview with him. So got down below. You can see his list and everything. Next up was Night March. Now, I kind of imagined that Night March would be a bigger deck here. Just because it's a great deck overall. We saw it at Worlds do pretty well. And I thought it was going to be a lot more played, especially with Seismitoad Giratina. Because with Mew, you only need 1 energy, like 1 lightning energy, to start using Joltik's Night March attack. You don't need a DCE, so you actually can beat the Seismitoad Giratina that way. We see Derek got 6th place overall. I'm not I guess he must have lost a Blastoise deck. And once again, most of these Blastoise decks were playing multiple Articuno, so that we could take easy, like, multiple prizes on Pokemon. Next up is Blastoise again. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 Blastoise in top 8. Next up was Vileplume, Miltank, Regice. I actually did a video about this main deck Monday, and I would cover all the deck about it. Next up is Evatol. I don't think we know that much about this. We know Evatol, Toad, Giratina, Tool Drop. Now, Mike Canavis is actually I'm pretty sure the one who gave us the list. I actually got it from Brandon Cantu and Brad Kershaw, and they handed me the list, and so I was like, all right, this looks pretty fun. So I decided to play Tool Drop with them, and we see that Canavis did get top 16 with it, so congratulations with him. Next up is Blastoise, and the next up is Vespiquen Flareon. Now, this is the only deck that actually made cut, and this actually surprised me because I thought that this deck would have a better showing, but obviously we see that it didn't. I guess like I said, all the Blastoise player like category Yags can easily just like knock out the Combies on the bench, which is great for you. Once if they can neg out Vespa Queen, you kind of just win the matchup. You're not really worried about Flareon because it doesn't hit for weakness. So that's great for you. And also you can use Articuno to knock out the Flareons to take multiple prizes on there. It's just a bad matchup overall for the Vespa Queen player, and I think that's why Vespa Queen did not do so great overall. Next up is Filibarto with Evital, and the next up was Rayquaza Electric. Everybody thought this deck was pretty much like knocked out. Not that great at all, but Rayquaza proven its point that it is great here. I mean, just using I forgot what it's called. The attack is like 60 times the amount as fire or lightning energies you can discard. And of course, you want to discard lightning energies because electric lets you get those lightning energies back onto your Pokemon, as we saw with like Bronzongs and stuff like that. But this time it is a lightning energies instead of metal energies. And you know, this probably has a really good like Seismitoad matchup because you can just like easily one-shot a Seismitoad. You don't need 3 energies, and if you get the turn 1 Keldeo with the Flowstone, you're pretty much good shape there, and that's why we saw JC Sharp get top 16 with the deck. But overall, what deck are you like most interested that made top 8? Like we said this time around, Texas Seismitoad Crobat won, and in Arizona, Evital Arceus gets us one, and both Arizona and Texas Blastoise got second place. So if you're considering a deck, Blastoise is probably your number one choice because it is the most consistent, as we see here. But we see that Evital actually beat out the Blastoise, so maybe Evital is your better play. I'm not really sure. And the interesting thing to note here is that Jonathan Perenata did beat Evital Sableye in top 4, but I don't think Elijah played like Getsis. I'm not so sure if Sosa even played Hex Maniac, but if he did, that's obviously a great counter to the Blastoise deck. So I'm not sure what Elijah played, but obviously it went great for him because he did get 3rd place overall. But hopefully enjoy this Wednesday's weekly report here. We'll have one next week with the, I think it's just like Pennsylvania is the only regionals next week, if I remember correctly. There might be one in Canada. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I can't remember off the top of my head. But hopefully enjoy this video. I hope you have a great Wednesday. Alrighty, bye.